My name is Hannah, and this is my year of less stuff. Hey y'all, so I'm sitting down to film right now. This is Saturday when I'm filming this, and I am about to finally film my video about the things that I bought with my budget in February, but I got the idea for this video and I feel like it's more urgent. So I'm going to go ahead and film this one now, and hopefully if things go as planned, I'll actually be able to post this video today or tonight. And then the long-awaited video about what I bought in February with my budget will go up tomorrow, Sunday, as my usual Sunday upload. Just in the past few days, life on Earth has gotten really weird because as a global community, we're dealing with a virus that we don't yet have a cure for. As a result, a lot of things that we usually take for granted have changed super fast, and overall there's a much higher than usual level of uncertainty. I think that everyone on Earth basically is in need of some serious self-soothing right now. So I wanted to make a video speaking directly to those of you who have found your way to my channel because you, like me, have historically used shopping for makeup or for other beautiful things like clothes, tea, yarn, stationery, anything, jewelry, whatever it is for you. You've made your way to my channel because you've historically used shopping for one or a handful of those things as your primary way of self-soothing. If you are with me on some sort of journey to recover from a kind of overspending that is rooted in anxiety or discomfort or dissatisfaction with your life or fear about your future, then there's a good chance that this scary global moment is posing a huge challenge to you. I mean, the scary global moment is posing a huge challenge to everyone, but there's a good chance that it's posing a huge challenge to you in your attempts to regain control over your spending habits. Now, to be clear, I'm not talking about spending a little more than usual on like extra food and supplies and things that some people are stocking up on because the circumstances are extraordinary. This video is specifically about panic spending on the things that you have historically indulged in, spent a lot on, special things, treats, extra things, beautiful things. Panic spending on those things because buying them has at some point in your life become your default mechanism for self-soothing. Now, I realized that this was a thing, and I realized that it was something that I might want to make a video about because it happened to me. It's been happening to me. I am someone who historically has had a default mechanism of self-soothing that's buying makeup and clothes. We all know. I mean, like, if you're new here, maybe you don't know this, but that's why I ever started this channel, and I make a lot of content about that. That's the journey that I'm on, right? Trying to negotiate a healthy relationship with beautiful things so that I can keep loving them, keep collecting them on a scale that's appropriate to me, but without letting overspending on them ruin my life. And all of that is rooted in the fact that buying something, the act of doing it, temporarily makes me feel better. Buying something beautiful and then knowing that it's coming in the mail, it's like something to look forward to. It's something to make life feel textured and interesting and feel positive. And so historically, when things get dark, I buy more. And the really, really bad bout of overspending that I went through that kind of showed me that I really needed to do a no-buy year happened after the 2016 election, when I was feeling like things were really, really dark, not just on a personal level, not like in my private life, but nationally and in some ways globally. It felt like a super dark moment, and I felt like I was kind of drowning in that, and the only thing that felt like oxygen to me was going to Sephora and buying makeup. Luckily for me, I have been through this journey talking a lot in public on this platform about these issues. I've had several strategies in place over the past couple of years for recovering from these impulses, catching myself in the act, keeping myself in check. So I'm not worried that a similarly dark global moment is going to cause the exact same thing to happen to me personally. But in the past several days, I've felt those impulses returning in a way that's specific to reaction to the news and the global climate. And that's different from the kind of overspending that I did like in January and February of this year, for example, where I was just struggling with some things in my personal life and issues that I deal with just because of my personality and my brain and the way that I function, and that was kind of causing me to overspend. I feel like there's a little bit of a difference, and I just kind of want to make this video to talk about it, to put it out there and to say, yeah, what's going on right now globally might make us feel like it's more okay to indulge in that kind of self-soothing than it was last week or the week before. There's this kind of all bets are off feeling. That's the best way that I can describe the way that I felt. So I'm on the internet, I'm looking on Instagram, there's a lot of depressing stuff going on. There's the news, there's my emails, I'm chatting with my friends, and I'm surfing around and maybe window shopping at Sephora, or I'm seeing like ads on Instagram, targeted ads for the things that they know that I like to buy. And usually when I see those ads, or if I'm checking out what's new at Sephora, I'm like really clear that this is just something that I do casually, that I'm not actually shopping right now, especially right now, because as many of you know, I'm on pretty much a no buy, like a kind of tacit no buy, because I spent so much of my yearly budget already. Usually when I see those temptations, the block in my mind against actually buying them is very firm and clear. And for the past several days, there have been some moments when I've been like, everything's going crazy, might as well place a huge order from Sephora. This has all been put in perspective. Overspending doesn't even matter that much when we're worried about a global health crisis. So why don't I just do it? Like, it's fine. Those kinds of thoughts have been entering my head. And I've had these like fantasies of the things that I might put into my Sephora shopping cart and buy, or fantasies of like clicking through an Instagram ad and buying like 3 pairs of luxury sweatpants that have felt more real. Like it feels like I'm entertaining the fantasies in a more real way than I usually do. And that is 100% because of what is going on globally. Now, again, lucky for me, for myself, I have these couple of years under my belt of working on these issues. I also have just entered a phase of extremely firm resolve to not spend any more of my yearly budget because of how I spent in January and February. So at the same time as my defenses are being weakened by what's going on in the news, my defenses were just made much stronger than they were before. So I haven't done it. I haven't given into it. I've noticed it happening. I've caught myself in the act. But it's made me fearful, feeling these feelings in myself and feeling how much I am inclined to like break my own rules right now, because this is sort of an unprecedented level of disruption in our daily lives and in like our infrastructure. Feeling how much that tempts me to break my rules makes me fear for people who are on low buys or no buys. It's like the thing that has happened more than anything since the beginning of my channel that I could see causing people's resolve not to overspend just go out the window. And that's why I'm making this video. I am going to talk through some strategies for not letting that happen, and some just general strategies for like being okay and self-soothing and making ourselves feel okay right now that don't require spending money that we don't have or spending money that we should be saving. We are going to get through this, and it will really suck if you get through to the other side of this and you've spent all your savings in a panic, or you've racked up a bunch of credit card debt because that was the only way that you could find to self-soothe. There are other ways, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. Okay, I have a list of tips, and that intro was so meandering that I feel like I need to get straight into the list. Tip number 1 is to catch yourself in the act. It's what I have been talking about doing, noticing that moment where you feel like all bets are off, noticing when you kind of pass through the membrane from this side of the membrane where your resolve is strong through to the other side where you're like, it's fine, everything's different now, so I can just do that thing that I have been not doing for so long, or that thing that I know isn't healthy for me or for my bank account. Just feeling the moment when you're pushing up against that membrane and you're very tempted to pop through it and then place that online order, and you feel yourself giving yourself license to push through to the other side and let yourself do it because things are so bad and so hard and because you feel so panicky. Catch yourself in the act. When you are in that moment, just catch yourself and say, I'm doing this because of this. I feel this way, I feel bad, and I'm on the brink of allowing myself. When you feel yourself telling yourself that all bets are off and indulging in that feeling as a kind of temporary relief, just catch yourself in the act. That's the first bit of advice that I have. Because then when you catch yourself in the act, then you can make an informed decision. Then you can kind of see all of the moving pieces and you can step back from what's going on and really ask yourself, your more mature, honest, more aware self, what you really want to do. And in some cases, if you have a budget and you're spending it, or if you have a lot of money and you're not endangering your well-being or your financial well-being by making a few judicious purchases as a way of self-soothing a little bit, if you want to make that as a judicious decision, like if I had budget left, if I had like budget to spend in March, I might be spending a little bit of it as one of my strategies for self-soothing. I just want us all to be making that decision from a place of actually seeing that this climate right now has the potential to make us panic and to make us buy things that we don't really need or want, and to spend money that we don't really need or want to spend. I just want us to be making our decisions with full knowledge of that, seeing ourselves, like having ourselves in our own sights when we make those decisions, whether we decide to buy a few things right now or not. So tip number 2, this is specifically for those of you who, like me, are really trying to not buy pretty things right now, trying not to buy makeup, clothes, skincare, beauty products, yarn, whatever it is for you. If it's a situation where you have been on a no-buy or you've already spent part of your budget and you don't want to spend any more of it for quite a while, like me, and you want to get through this difficult time without really buying anything, this is tip number 2. Resolve to shop without buying. I have to admit that shopping, and I'm talking about browsing, like window shopping is the word that a lot of people use. Sometimes I think that for me, just thinking of shopping as the act of combing through and adding things to my cart and doing research and fantasizing about beautiful things, thinking of that as its own activity that doesn't necessarily involve making purchases is kind of useful. If right now it's really, really, really hard and you don't have the tools to come up with other ways to self-soothe, if shopping is truly the best one for you, I think in some ways it still is for me, because there's all of this muscle memory involved. I'm just so used to relaxing when I browse the Sephora website, and it really does help me relax. And when times are really bad, it's okay to turn to that. It's okay to use the Band-Aid that is familiar to you, that you know, especially if it's going to really help you, if it's going to make you feel better, as long as you can separate it from the act of buying. I've resolved during these coming months to shop without buying. I'm allowing myself to spend an hour on the Sephora website reading reviews if I need to. I'm allowing myself to click through those Instagram ads and just look at the stuff that's on offer, put stuff in my cart, put together outfits, fantasize about what I would buy if I were buying. I'm just resolved to do all of that without ever making a purchase. That is something that I think some people think isn't possible. And if you're one of those people, or if you feel like it's not possible for you, if it's something you've never done, this is the moment. Start now. Resolve to make it a practice to shop without buying if you have to shop as one of your ways of self-soothing, and that will help to get you through. I promise you that you can do it. You can shop without buying. If you need to go through and take all of your credit card information out of all of the platforms, that is something that can really help. All of your credit and debit card information, erase it from your computer's memory, erase it from Sephora, erase it from Amazon, take it down, and then like leave your wallet in a drawer or something so that you can't actually click through and buy something without going and physically getting your wallet. That could be one thing that could help. Whatever you need to do to put yourself in a headspace where anytime you do that kind of shopping, you're resolved to do it without buying. Okay, tip number 3. This is like the meat of the video. This is the stuff I'm really excited about sharing, and this is making a list of alternatives to shopping. So if you're someone who can't shop without buying, then I really suggest leaning into tip number 3 and really trying not to spend any time shopping, not to have shopping at all or window shopping or thinking about buying stuff, not to have that be one of the things that's on your list of ways that you self-soothe right now. And in that case, especially if it's your habitual way of self-soothing, you have to proactively come up with a list of other things that sound really awesome, that you're really excited about doing, that you can turn to and actually read, like a physical list. I'm suggesting that you write down a physical list of other things to do right now that will be as exciting and as soothing, and in some cases as like indulgent, as mindless, as browsing and shopping. So these are the things that I'm doing and that I'm planning to keep doing. But let's make the comment section of this video like a really long, robust brainstorming session for other things that could be on your list of shopping alternatives. So number one on my list is something I've been doing for the past couple of days. It's organizing my closet with a closet organization app on my phone. And this is not at all like an ad for the app. I'll tell you which app I'm using after I tell you about the whole process. I just picked the one that was the most readily available for the type of phone that I have, but there are a bunch of them and I think that they all do pretty much the same thing. When I went looking for it, my goal was to be able to have on my phone like a contemporary version of Cher's computer closet from Clueless, where she can like scroll through all of the items in her closet and decide what she's gonna wear on her screen and then just go pick the outfits out. And what led me to this desire is that I'm trying to wear sort of more splashy outfits every single day for the rest of March. And I've been posting them on my Instagram stories as my outfit of the day under the hashtag doing the most, because in my last video I declared, or my second to most recent video, I declared that I was going to be doing the most in the month of March with my outfits, and that's going to be like my way of really digging deep into what I already own. So I've been spending a lot of time with my closet putting together those outfits, and I became frustrated one evening that I can't really like see everything at once. I can't really visualize everything at once just physically. Like things are in drawers, things are hanging up, and my shirts are not all in one place because some of them are hanging and some of them are in drawers. Same with my pants. And I was just like, I wish I could just like see everything. And then the light bulb went off and I was like, I bet there's an app for that. I got the app, I downloaded it, and I have been spending hours for the past several days prepping the app for my use, because in order to use the app, you have to photograph each individual piece of clothing and then you have to categorize it. I have been setting the app up to work for my purposes. You can also do way more than I've even been doing. You can like put how much everything costs and what brand it's from and where you got it, and you can schedule your outfits for days of the week, and then the app will keep track of like your cost per wear of each item and like how frequently you wear each item, and it'll show you what you aren't wearing. Like you can really go all the way organizationally with this. My main purpose for using it is to be able to be creative with my outfits by having everything accessible visually in one place. And it has been amazing in 1,000 ways. The first and most important way with regards to this video that it's been amazing is that it has been so time consuming and so soothing. The nights that I've taken to put the photographs of the clothes into the app, it's been this like repetitive, very focused project, and it's also been a way of indulging in my beautiful things. Just the act of cataloging all of my closet into this app, it's made me rediscover some pieces that I had sort of forgotten about. It's made me really excited about things. It's like sparked my creativity in terms of putting outfits together. It actually caused me to declutter a couple of things because there were some things that I was just like, ugh, I don't even feel like photographing this. I don't even like it enough to like photograph it and put it in the app. And then I was like, I think that means I need to declutter this. So I decluttered like 5 things as I was going through my whole closet. It has just been an absolute delight, and it's been the perfect project that doesn't cost money because the app that I got is free. Does cause me to sort of feel a swell of increased value for what I already own in my heart. It has, again, like sparked my creativity and made me feel really excited about what I already own. It's just been the perfect project for this time. Now, I suspect that I will probably be able to put all of my makeup into the app as well. I haven't tried that yet because I'm still working on my closet. I think I just got the last couple of pairs of earrings photographed last night, but I bet I could put like my perfume in there, my makeup. I bet I could like go further with it. And maybe if you aren't that into outfits, but you're really interested in your makeup collection and curating it and organizing it, you could try getting an app like this and just using it for makeup. I feel like it could easily be repurposed that way, even though it's designed for a closet. So the closet app that I've been using is called Your Closet. I have a Google phone, an Android phone, so there are a bunch of, I think, really nice ones that are available only for iPhone, but I don't have an iPhone. And the one that I have, Your Closet, it's free and it's been very effective and simple, and the interface is pretty easy. It's not very glamorous, but it definitely serves my purpose, and I cannot recommend doing something like this with your time right now more highly. So the second thing on my list is kind of an extension of this. I wrote cleaning and organizing my pretty things. So I've kind of been doing that with my closet because I was organizing it, taking everything out, photographing it, putting it away again. But I was thinking about going through and doing like a deep clean of all of my makeup. I've often found that reorganizing the things that I really love in my life, like my makeup and my clothes, these like things with which I surround myself that spark joy for me, putting things just in different places, like putting your lipstick where your eyeshadow was and your eyeshadow where your lipstick was, like just these simple acts of reorganizing and refreshing can add excitement to daily life and make you feel like everything old is new again. So I am going to do that with my makeup. I have been doing a good bit of that already, but I'm planning to sort of spend some time super focused on that. Maybe I'll film it. Do you guys want to do like a clean and organize with me type of thing, like a chatty video where I'm just over here wiping down my makeup? That might be fun. But I've also been doing it a little bit with my kitchen. I went through and like reorganized some messy areas of our kitchen, and that felt really great. And I also did that switching thing. Like I moved the silverware from this side of the drawer to that side of the drawer, and I like put the knives from this side of the counter to that side of the counter. It's so dumb, but it really, really does help you feel like things are a little bit shinier, things are a little bit more special. You just feel a little bit of a sense of renewal when you do that. And that's a big one for right now, especially if you're like self-quarantined or you're spending a lot of time at home, or if you're working from home. It can really help to like push the refresh or the reset button on your home in a way that doesn't involve buying stuff. Okay, number 3 will come as no surprise. This is something that I frequently recommend just as a way of being excited about the things that you already own when trying to resist overspending in general. And that is makeup playtime. This is an ideal time for makeup playtime, you guys. And I'm also putting closet playtime on this list. It's sort of part of number 1, but you know, once you organize your closet in the app, it's fun to just like play, put outfits together, and then even try them on in real life, take pictures, see how you feel, get ideas, get inspired. I also put on the line for number 3 on the list, photos. And what I'm talking about with that is, you know, taking time to like photograph your looks, photograph yourself. If you're not that active on social media, if you don't usually have time for that, this might be a fun time to figure out how to like take a really gushy, yummy, shiny close-up picture of like your favorite lip color on your lips, and just feel your creative oats a little bit, even though that's not something that you usually do. I really enjoy photographing my looks as an addendum to makeup playtime, because then it feels sort of like there's this end goal. You're not just like putting on makeup, taking it off, putting it on, taking it off, which is really fun. And I do that a lot without actually taking photos. But sometimes I sit down and I do a whole look, and then I take a bunch of glamorous pictures of it. And sometimes I do post them on social media, and sometimes I don't. But either way, it gives like this sort of sense of completion or projection, or it's like a way of sharing your look, or even thinking about sharing your look, even if you don't go ahead and post the look. It can add spice to makeup playtime or closet playtime or whatever you're doing. And if you guys do this, totally tag me. If you do makeup playtime and you take a picture of yourself and post on social media, or closet playtime, like if you spend an evening one day this week just putting together outfits from your own closet that are more dynamic than what you usually wear, mixing prints, putting on heels with jeans, living your fashion dreams, and you take pictures of that and you post it, tag me, because I would love to see your makeup playtime and closet playtime pictures, especially if you're indulging in that as a way of keeping yourself from buying extra stuff during these troubled times. Oh, number 4 on my list is cleaning and organizing other parts of the house, like the kitchen. I already went over that, but I had it as a separate line item on my list. Ooh, number 5, this is a great one. So This is especially relevant to you if you usually have a really busy life where you're out and about and you usually spend long hours in your workplace and you are now working from home. I know that that's the case for a lot of people in cities right now. If that's the case for you, this is a precious opportunity to cook more of your own food. You can cook things when you're home all day. You can cook things that you usually can't cook unless it's the weekend. And even then, I find it's rare to be able to cook like an all day on the stove recipe for some people. I know some people are home all day a lot, but these days, even and I do a lot of my work from home and then some of my work from our studio, which is pretty close to our home. But even I have a hard time these days cooking like a bone broth on the stove, something that has to be like bubbling all day, or like a really, really long, slow roast in the oven or something like that. It's a good time to experiment with like elaborate recipes that you've never made before. Or if you're not a chef at all, like if you've never really cooked food for yourself, the thing that it takes is time, right? You just have to have a little bit of time at home where you research, find a recipe, and then practice following that recipe and seeing how it comes out. Making healthy food for yourself at home is something that can make your home life and your moments at home, your time at home, feel really cozy and lovely. So that's definitely on my list. I'm going to be looking up some new recipes, things I've never cooked before, recipes that take all day, and experimenting with that in the coming weeks. And then the last thing on my personal list is reading physical books. I just have a number of books lying around that I've been longing to get into, and I just haven't felt like I have the time. And that's often because my life just fills up to the brim with work and social obligations, and I'm just rushing all over the place and never having like an afternoon in which to just sit and read. Like, when was the last time I had an afternoon where I just sat and read? I can't even remember. But I'm hoping for some afternoons like that coming up soon. So that was tip number 3. Tip number 3 was to make a list of alternatives to actually shopping and spending money during this time. And that was my list right there. Tip number 4, I feel like that's a really interesting one. Tip number 4 is to indulge slightly in other ways. And I have seen myself doing this recently. So for example, this morning, most of you know that my sort of small targeted New Year's resolution was to not work in bed, like to never have my computer in bed with me and like do emails and stuff. I'm trying to keep the bed as just a place of rest. And whenever I'm doing any kind of work on my computer, I'm trying to sit here at my desk. It's just like one of the things I'm doing this year to try to be more healthy. So I woke up this morning and I was like, ugh, everything's going to hell in a handbasket. I can't live. And I got my computer and I got my coffee and I put my coffee on my bedside table and I sent some emails from my computer from bed. I broke my New Year's resolution. And it felt so cozy to be in bed with my coffee working. It felt so indulgent, and I really felt like I was giving myself some leeway. I felt like I was throwing myself a bone. I was like letting myself stay home sick from school even though I knew that I didn't really have a temperature. It's like that kind of thing, you know? And it made me feel better. It soothed me a little bit to be like, things are so bad that you are allowed to break your New Year's resolution and send your emails from bed this morning. It just gave me the little comfort, the little babying that I needed. Now, here's the thing. I know that me breaking that New Year's resolution isn't going to ruin my bank account or my life, or it's not going to send me into like a spiral of overspending. It's not going to make me feel so guilty later that I want to throw up. Like, I just know that it's kind of a small thing, but because it's something that I've been very carefully adhering to, letting myself break it for one day, it gave me the treat. Working from bed this morning was like the treat that I needed. I also know that my relationship with that issue is such that I will probably be able to get back on the horse tomorrow. Like, I can probably just have it be a thing that I did for one day, but I think I'm probably strong enough to not do it again tomorrow and then the next day and the next day. So it was the perfect way for me to give myself a little bit of leeway. The other things that I've been doing that come to mind, I feel like I've had a drink like more frequently. I've had like a drink every night this week and I don't usually do that. And I've had a little bit more. I've been eating like a treat or two more than usual. Here's what I'm trying to say. I try not to have a drink every day, an alcoholic drink. I try not to eat a treat every day. I try not to bring my computer into my bed with me and work from bed. And I try not to overspend on clothes and makeup and skincare. Those are 4 areas of my life in which I try to moderate for health. But I have a way worse history with overspending on beautiful things than I do with alcohol, treats, or working from bed. So if I'm going to let myself slide in some area, if I just feel like I need, like something has to give, it's going to be in one of those areas in which I don't struggle as hard. I'm going to let myself indulge in ways that will be easier to recover from. Another kind of indulgence of this type could be like playing video games all day, or watching 2 movies back to back, like things that you don't ordinarily do under normal circumstances. I guess I'm just trying to say, think about the array of ways in which you usually sort of hold yourself accountable and keep yourself in check, and prepare yourself to let yourself indulge and feel sorry for yourself by letting go in 1 or 2 of those areas, and then just choose them wisely. Like if you do have a drinking problem, don't drink. Like don't choose alcohol as one of your ways that you indulge. And if you do habitually like become incredibly addicted to sugar and overeat sugar, then leave that one alone. Like leave that one and leave that measure of health in place. Leave not overspending, leave that as a measure of health that's in place, and then pick something else. Play video games all day. Let yourself do something that you know isn't going to be the worst one for you and isn't going to send you off the rails. A little bit of indulgence, a little bit of like carefully chosen indulgence, I think can go a long way towards keeping us from indulging in the things that could have bad long-term repercussions for our health and for our bank accounts, etc. And I did want to recommend, speaking of video games, I don't really play that many video games, but there is one that I found years ago. It was actually, I looked it up right before this video. It was released in 2014, so it's a really old game for like a tablet or a phone. It's like a phone game. It's one though that you download, and I don't remember if it's free or not. I think it might not actually be free. I'll link it down below. I don't know all the details. All I know is that I played it during a very dark time. It was probably 2014 or 15, and I just remember it was similarly, there were really troubling things going on the national stage, some things that had troubled me very deeply, and I just needed something to like escape. I just needed to turn off my brain, and I found this video game, and it was a godsend. It's called 80 Days, and it's based on Jules Verne's novel Around the World in 80 Days. Can you even? It's kind of like a choose your own adventure game. In the game, you are the valet of a guy who is trying to make it around the world in 80 days as a bet, but it's set in this kind of like steampunk inspired alternate universe version of the Earth. So you're taking all of these like weird different kinds of flying machines and submarines and stuff to get around the world, and you as the valet are responsible for making a bunch of travel decisions and purchasing decisions and just like safely getting this guy that you work for around the world in 80 days. I don't feel like I'm doing it justice. It's very story based, it's very narrative. Like it's kind of like you're reading a novel, but you're making decisions as you go, and it's very beautifully written and intriguing, and it's like there are all of these characters and different landscapes, and there's also sound. Like you can hear the clip clapping of the horse's hooves if you're riding like in a horse and carriage through a city, and you can hear like the humming of a plane if you're taking an airplane over the ocean or something like that. It's great because it engages your decision making, it engages your creativity, it engages your whole sort of senses, and it really, really is a beautiful way to escape. It's like beautiful, pure, fantastical escapism. I can't believe I'm up here like recommending a video game so heartily. That game, I played it for a while, and then I was like, I have to stop playing this because it was sort of like sucking me away from my regular life. It's very easy to fall into it and then just like wake up 3 hours later and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I just spent 3 hours like forgetting who I am. And I think basically what I'm trying to say is sometimes you have to forget who you are for a little while. And for a lot of us, shopping is the only way we know to do that, or it's the most efficacious way. And we've gotten stuck on it because it works better than anything else. It's like our drug of choice. A lot of you who are here on my channel, we speak each other's language, and I know that you're here because it's like that for you in the way that it's been like that for me. And so desperate times call for desperate measures, and I'm recommending to you this other way that I know to forget who you are for a couple of hours. It happens to be a video game. It's one that's worked really well for me, and so I think if you like watching my channel and if you identify with me, it might work better for you than other kinds of video games that are like more like guns based or like flying through space based or like more elaborate. I don't really play games like that, and I don't really know anything about them. But this one, it's like literary. The interface is really easy. It's just accessible, and I really, really like it. So if you are desperate and you need something like that, I really recommend 80 Days. If you've played 80 Days and you know of other games that are like it that you think I would like, please let me know in the comment section down below, because I might actually start playing it again. I've been thinking about getting it out again and just like giving it a whirl. Those are my main tips, but I have like, I guess it's not really another tip. I put it as tip number 5, but it's kind of like an addendum to the whole thing. And that is this: if you are going to buy something, if you just are, please buy from a small business. I hesitated to write this into my notes. I hesitate to include it in the video because I don't want people to use altruism as an excuse to overspend when they themselves actually can't afford to. So if you really can't afford to, like if you can't afford to spend past your budget and you've already spent it, or if you're on a no-buy and it's for financial reasons and you really cannot afford to break it, or if in order to buy something beautiful, you'd have to put it on your credit card. If that's you, if any of those is you, please disregard. This addendum is specifically for people who are financially secure and aren't really in danger of having self-soothing spending put them in dire financial straits. I hope that sentence came out okay. It felt awkward. Basically, if you really do have a lot of money or a lot of spending money, and you can afford to do some self-soothing with spending, then judicious or casual spending here and there a little bit might actually be on your list of your strategies for helping yourself feel better during these challenging times. And if it's not going to send you into financial ruin, it's okay. It's probably okay. You know, like you will know if it is or isn't okay. If you have an emotional relationship with buying beautiful things that's historically really, really troubled, and you know that you need to fix it, even though you can afford to buy whatever you want, then you know that about yourself, and then maybe you should also disregard this. But I just know that there are people out there who they can like buy some makeup when they feel bad, and it's okay. Like it's okay financially, it's okay emotionally, etc., etc. If that's you, and if you are doing some collecting of beautiful things right now because it is going to make you feel better, and that's a good thing, I just want to take this opportunity and use my platform to strongly, strongly, strongly encourage you to buy from a small business instead of a big one. All business is taking a hit right now. Everything is totally crazy, but big corporations like Sephora, they can afford to weather a storm like this. Small businesses that are surviving month to month, in a couple of months, might just fold. And to be totally honest, I'm speaking from my own experience. I make my living selling clothes to people who dance tango, clothes for tango to tango dancers. Joe and I run this small business together. That's how we afford to pay the rent on our apartment and the rent on the studio from which we run the business. It's also how we pay our bills, and it's how we pay for food. The business covers all of those expenses, and tango events are obviously completely canceled all around the world right now. And if people stop buying tango clothes because they aren't going out dancing, then honestly, our business might not make it past a month or two. Like we go month by month. I have a lot of empathy right now for the fears of people who run small businesses selling beautiful goods, because I am one. I don't want you guys to go out there and spend money that you don't have and buy things that you can't afford to buy and indulge in a habit that's unhealthy for you if it's going to, detract from your health in the long term. But I do want to say that if you are going to place an order for something, a beautiful thing, a piece of makeup, a piece of clothing, please try to research and find a small shop selling that thing. Find something that you would like from someone who's an independent business person instead of placing that order from Sephora or Ulta or Amazon. Consider being willing to pay shipping right now. Consider being willing to wait longer for your stuff as a way of giving back. because it could make all the difference to someone like me who is really afraid right now that her livelihood might not weather the storm. Okay, that is it. Thank you so much for watching this video, y'all. I hope that it was helpful. Once again, let's brainstorm in the comments about non-spendy ways to self-soothe. Let me know if you have any that you are using or that you know are great that aren't on my list, things that I didn't touch on in this video. Please be kind to yourselves and to each other. Wash your hands a lot, and don't forget to take extra good care of yourself right now so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.